We are activating your unique self-discovery one show at a time. The Orchard of Wisdom Self-Discovery podcast are at your fingertips, just waiting to inspire and invite you in discovering just how awesome you really are and how to navigate through life in joy, enrichment, personal abundance, in mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. All the people we bring you are here to serve you on your journey of life. Do enjoy our next show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to An Author's Kiss right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and I am back with the wonderful Deborah Drummond. We are going to be talking about a book that she is putting together that is absolutely mind-blowing. And we've interviewed her before. I invite everybody just to put in her name, Deborah Drummond, Drummond, in the search engine, and you'll see all the shows that she's done with us. Don't want to miss any one of them. But we're going to be talking about this epic book that she's putting together that is, gosh, the numbers of it is 262 women entrepreneurs, creatives, media legacy, and tell-all. And it's two epic book launches, March 8th of 2023 to May 6th, 2023 on International Women's Day and Mother's Day focus. And we're going to be talking about what that is all about and what the invitation is to you, the opportunity that is there to you as an author to participate in this book. It really is one of a kind. I don't think anybody else has ever done this, and quite extraordinary to be a part of, and a great opportunity for anybody who really wants to get their message out there. Welcome back, Deb.
Hey, Sarah. Nice to be back. Nice to be back.
Now, you've got so many ventures going on. You've got this wonderful walk across the island to raise money and awareness for musicians, which is again under the events page, folks. Please go and look at that, as well as under For the Love of Music. But this one is all to do with the authors and really kind of profiling the work that people are doing, the inspiration that they are, and putting it all together in one book.
It's true. Now I got to say, I didn't plan this to be the same year as I, was walking across Ireland. As we know, the walk across Ireland snuck up on me, and there it is. It's going to be in the same year. And this book, I'm going to tell you, I was probably, now I don't know the exact, I think 27, 28, 29 years old. And I was in business. I had my own business in my 20s. And there was a Women's Day book. And it was a day planner. Mm-hmm. And it had beautiful black and white photography that women had put together in this book. And honestly, do you know when you find the right planner? I mean, I can't even explain it. And so after a number of years of using this planner, it went out of print. Now, look at this is before we all had cell phones and could Google and this and that and what have you. Okay, it's just a little time ago. And I didn't know where to go. I was calling bookstore after bookstore after bookstore, and it literally was out of print. And I remember now, it's very interesting when people say, it was almost like, I don't know if it was a magical moment, but it was this defining, I can remember it to this day. I said, one day I'm going to duplicate this. One day I am going to have a Women's Day planner. And I must have said it in my core, because here we are, 30 years later. And I decided to do a planner, and it left this woman's book to be done. So the planner is for entrepreneurs, and which is exactly why I was using the planner. And then when I wanted to do this women's book, I was like, okay, it's time to do this woman's book. And it was really more around legacy, and that I had been podcasting and interviewing women for a number of years. And there just has never been a woman that I haven't gotten, we haven't dug a little bit, and they're doing their business because it moves them for their family or their community or their this or their that or this group, or like, it's so legacy based. And I'm not saying that our counterparts are not legacy based, but it was every single woman I interviewed. Yes. And, becoming a compiler for the last 3 years with the media company, it just became time. And I know that I'm talking a lot here, but I'll tell you, it wasn't supposed to be in 2023. It was supposed to be December 1st, 2022. And it's called Mission Accepted, just like my podcast, because it's self-funding women. I wanted to really highlight past the word entrepreneur and ultrapreneur, which we know are multiple, people that are entrepreneurs on, fire, and using the word media and using the word creatives, because so many times people say, oh, she's a radio host, she's a podcast host, she's a TV station owner, she's a singer, a dancer, and we're defined, and people don't realize that it's self-funding as just as hard to make or break as these entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And so I wanted to include that, but yes, I did move the date into 2023.
Just to make sure you didn't get bored in 2023.
Oh, do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to tell you why I changed the date?
Give it to me.
I'll give it to you. Okay, so I'm sitting there one night watching Netflix on the couch, and I'm half watching it because I am doing what a lot of entrepreneurs do, and that's as we're winding down, we're doing those bits and pieces and getting back to our people on different social platforms. And so I thought I'll put on Netflix, and which I didn't ever even use till a year and a half ago. But anyway, so I see this show, and it's called Seeing All Red. And honestly, I go, God, that looks like a movie that Gloria Steinem would do. And I literally said to myself, are you in the mood for it? Are you in the mood for it? Because, are you?
Yeah.
I'm like, it can be heavy content. Are you in the mood for it? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I went past it. And then I was like, watch the damn movie. So I went back to the movie and I watched it. And it was about Gloria Allred. It's called Seeing All Red, and it's Gloria Allred. And I have to say, I've been a huge follower of Gloria Steinem. I haven't followed so much Gloria Allred. And I watched that movie, and I totally know that I have done a lot for women in relationship to women in economics and starting business and kind of being poked around 30 years ago and blah, 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 and starting networking groups and all the stuff that me and you have done as a pioneer. And I was like, ooh, this woman has done so much.
Yes.
This woman has done so much for women. And it left me feeling like, could I do more? And so then I hit my phone and I watch the movie, I'm impacted. And I start Googling books. What are book sales like around Women's Day, Mother's Day? Because of course this was supposed to launch before Christmas, and I wanted the women in the book to have the best chance at high level success. So release a book at Christmas. It makes sense. And I start looking and Googling, and I'm like, the second best day is Mother's Day and all this kind of stuff. So I send a message to my publicist. I go, we're not launching Christmas. And she's like, I said, I'll call you tomorrow. So I take 2 hours out of my workday the next day, which,
yes, it's
and
a
I
lot.
watched the movie. Yeah. I watched the movie again in the middle of the afternoon. I watched it again, and I'm like, yeah. So I call her and I go, here's the deal. She's like, I said, we're going to launch it on International Women's Day. She goes, fantastic idea. And I said, we got to do more. I said, speakers, because there wasn't going to be speakers. I mean, I've always had my authors speak, but there's 262. We're going to do speakers. And I said, let's do summits every week between International Women's Day and Mother's Day. And no one should work on Mother's Day. So we're going to end it the weekend before Mother's Day. Let's bookend this with, and so now it's 75 speakers, speaking on their craft, what they do, what is their legacy. And I'm like, this book is a no hold bars, whatever you want to talk about. And there's a place for them to show themselves. And I go on the left-hand side, I want it to be your story. What is that? What's your story? Right. And then talk about your business. Yeah. And there's black and white pictures. I'm like, no color pictures, no headshots, no blazers, no sitting on a stool.
Right.
That's my tagline.
Yes. No, I agree with that. It'd be just, the organic conversations from your authentic self.
Yes.
It's always that question of why are you doing what you're doing? You're struggling, the ups and downs. There's a lot of hardship maybe in doing what you're doing, but you're doing it because just like you are with the island trip and just like you are with this, you're compelled to do it. It's a driving force because it means so much to you. And many entrepreneurs do not have it easy. Everybody thinks, oh, they're, making a lot of money. It's a lot of work to actually make the money, to serve the people, to keep the innovation up. But we do it because we care. We do it because this is our instrument, that the gift that we were given to play. And it's important that that is shared because inspiration begets invitation. And you never know, somebody listening, somebody reading, that is what they needed to hear in that moment. That little bit there was what the pivot is to put them on the right path to become their own beautiful instrument.
I have since I started this media company, and I started compiling books for others and then going into books myself and then writing. And then of course, I just came back from New York where I got to take a writing workshop with Cheryl Strayed. And for those of you that know, she wrote the book Wild, which was of course Reese Witherspoon's movie. And I was in a room of 400 writers, some that just want to write for themselves and
Yeah.
some want to be as big as her. And then she had another 700 to 1,000 people on Zoom. And we got to write, and then you share your stuff that you write with. Anyways, it was an incredible workshop. And I've always had a respect for word. Like
Mm.
paper, I was called paper girl. I love paper. I love drawing. I've always had mm, a relationship with words on paper, but I have never had such a respect for authors as I have in these last 3 years. Because
Mm.
even if someone's writing 500 words, or the power of a quote
Yes.
is incredible. But to actually have people write, and how many people it inspires,
Mm.
it's it's
Mm.
incredible. I just have such a healthy respect for authors. And I say, if you've got an opportunity to be in a collaborative, whether it's a
Mm.
poem you're putting in, whether, like, if you have an opportunity to write, it so makes a difference for people. So makes a
100%.
difference.
And the thing is a lot of people up until recently have thought, well, no, I need a publisher, or who am I to write? I'm not J.K. Rowling. I'm,
Mhm.
I'm not, or Michelle Obama, who's interested, or what have I got to say? And then they find the courage and the strength just to put it down, to allow it and put it
Mhm.
down. And then they're surprised by the reaction from other people, because what we look for in a book, we look for something that relates to us, that oh
Mhm.
yes, I feel that, oh that happened to me, or oh really, you did that. And it's something that we connect to like a good friend. This is the reason why
Mhm.
this particular episode is called Author's Kiss, because I think a kiss from an author is something that is long lasting. And when you put down a book and it stays with you, and it's something that kind of keeps revisiting you, and it's something that you keep reminding, and of course you've got to refer because it's meant so much to you. It's like having a good friend that you're supporting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't, I mean, it's like never underestimating that conversation
Yeah.
that you have at the bus stop. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's like the things that we say, which is why people, send out so much on social media, all these memes.
Yes,
And
yes.
people read other people's words and they are inspired. But with this book in particular, I was like, let's leave legacy. Like I
Mm.
told, like I was the I and I look, I wanted people to write about their legacy. It was rock legacy and tell all, because I believe that's what I have been observing for all these years of being an entrepreneur, but also all of the pioneership and laying it down. I was just talking to a woman yesterday. She's in her 20s, and I'm like, look, I have a message for all of you that are in your 20s. Go find a 30-year-old and say thank you. And if you're 30, go think of 40. And if you're
Yes.
40, go think of 50. And if you're
Yeah.
50, go think of 60, because you'll never know. You'll
No.
never know the bumps and the grinds and the bruises. And you are as well, at whatever stage you are embarking upon entrepreneurship, you're cutting track.
Yes.
You're cutting track. And the other inspiration for this book and changing the date was because, as someone who has followed women's rights for a very long
Hmm.
time, I've been an advocate of it. I've had I've been teased and prodded around just that early in my days, and names that like, anyways, we've all gone through that. Well, not all of us, but the other part that made
99%.
it is yeah, we've all had some kind of,
Yes.
maybe disempowering would be a good word to use.
Mhm.
But particularly right now, Sarah, I feel like we've lost some footing.
Mm.
I think about all the things that are happening
Yeah.
in the world where women's rights are being challenged.
Yes.
We have to revoice voices that we have shared before. I think, what, like, I know grass for us, really cut the grass, and we need to go trim it. And I just think it's time. There's a lot going on where we've stepped back or we haven't stepped back, but some of the rights have been readjusted, shall I say.
We need a new choir.
Mm-hmm.
It's going back to the show we just did on music and the impact it has, is that when those voices come together, and each person's story is individual because each one of them is a different instrument, but they come together
Mm-hmm.
in harmony. In harmony is that belief coming from the heart, coming from the soul, coming from the essence of who they are today because of what they've gone through. They are creating that choir that just transcends, the words themselves, and they just envelop people in a way that to believe that together we can, that they count,
Mm-hmm.
and that we are the difference that we seek. But we must come together in harmony. And the more that we invite in harmony to join the song, the more empowered. We're not looking for power, we're looking for empowerment of each other,
Mm-hmm.
so that we are
Mm-hmm.
not laid down to victimize or diminishing us or trying to set the clock back 60 years. We are a force to be reckoned with because we come from love, and everything we do is in love. And that love you cannot break down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I really, I even said there's 262 women and 75 speakers. Now, all these women are self-funding, so I would say that they're in business. And I'm like, even that group, like even has just having that group with the speakers in their private Facebook group, so they're getting all the information about everything that's coming down, and the expansiveness that we're doing with this project. Like it's going to be in 500 media houses, and we are
Yes.
doing the NBC, CBS, ABC. We're streaming it, and Amazon, and Apple, and Roku, and Hulu, and Hula Hoopy, and all of it, right? So we're doing that. Just the community alone of
Yes.
those women being in that circle, being able to do business, do relationship, support each other, like just even that group alone, I'm excited to see what comes from that. You have 262 women and 75 speakers in a group of people that are like rocking legacy and making
Yeah.
change. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what projects are going to come out of that. Just
Yes.
invite me to the Zoom.
Yeah.
Just invite me to the Zoom. Tell me how much it costs. I'll be there.
Right.
Just that alone, I think, will be very impactful. And we're expecting, at these online launches, we're expecting 2,000 to 2,500, and we're projecting about 2,000 women and 500 men. I mean, yes, this is a book that are written by women, but it's certainly not just for women.
No, no, most certainly not, because there's the balance in life. It's not about us versus them. It's about us inviting them to see us for
Mm-hmm.
who we are, to see our beautiful essence, to complement us, to dance with us, to collaborate with us, and bring about the balance that is so desperately needed, that is lacking
Mm-hmm.
so much. I mean, you're doing this because you're a driving force. You've always wanted to help women, be the abundant and enriched selves that they are. I've been doing this 10.5 years, and the reason I do it is because those stories, I mean, you can't do this for this length of time without the stories that I've heard impacting me, that has changed my life so considerably and helped me on my own self-discovery, on my own journey of life, and the courage and the strength and the abilities that they've learned through their trials and tribulations, and some of them
Mm-hmm.
so tumultuous, some of them so painful to even listen to, and yet who they are today as representation of that strength, of that courage, with those abilities, and helping other women, helping other human beings, whoever wants to step up to the
Mm-hmm.
plate, is just so exemplary, so extraordinary, and so illuminating that you can't help, for me every day getting up and doing this. What wonders am I going to hear today? What inspiration am I going to
Mm-hmm.
hear today? And when you've got that in a book, and when you've got that with the speakers, it becomes the nectar that feeds your spirit, feeds your soul, and it tells you, yes, you can. Yes, you can, and you're not alone, and we're here to support you. We're here to love you. We're here to help you love yourself. Anything is possible when you're willing to take that journey. And inspiration begets invitation. And when people are inspired, they're invited to step up and do it for themselves. So it's a wonderful thing of putting this beautiful orchestra and choir together to resonate in such harmony that will have such a wonderful impact to so many people.
Well, that's what I'm sharing with people. I'm like, look, people are like, oh, are you doing this every year? I'm like, are you crazy? So no is the answer. That the calling was the calling, and I'm fulfilling that calling now. If a group of people talk to me in 3 years from now or something, then
Yes.
that's a conversation to be had. But here's the deal: when people said, "Are you doing this every year?" I won't. I might not be able to do this one, but I'll do the next one. And I'm like, there's no next one, because here's the truth for me. Now, nothing against annual books. I do one in the direct sales industry every year. I do a planner every year. That's all fine. But this book has presence. The pictures are black and white. The reason why I say no headshots where you're sitting on a chair with a blazer, because it's not a directory.
Right.
It's your essence. It's who you are. And so this nice black and white picture, I don't care if you're grocery shopping. Give me a live shot, and
your authentic self.
It needs to breathe. Like this book is going to not go into bookshelves. It's going to sit on someone's coffee table because it has that much presence, and people are going to find joy. Just like, when you look in a beautiful, like a Robert Dussault photography book where there's this beautiful, and you see the characters and there's depth and there's just glory and story. That's kind of, for me, that's just what I want it to be. I want it to be a book that's going to be sitting in a doctor's office for 15 years from now. And someone's like, I got a call from a book I was in 15 years ago. And oh my gosh, and it's a book of connectivity, and it's a book of respect. I mean, look, we all know that we've all had in our life, we've all had obstacles and challenges and what have you. And by nature, I mean, I remember, Sarah, filling out job applications where there was like, they had a list for minorities and women was listed. You were to check out, it was like minorities, and it had and women were there. I know what it's like to go to the bank and get asked what my husband did, and if he was going to be co-applicant. I know when I still to this day, you want to know, this is going to be on my tombstone, I swear. They're going to change it before then. Honestly, when does an organization get to know my marital status? So how many times have we done an application or even an online thing, and it's like Mr. or MS, MISS, MRS, right? So that really means three things. It means not married, it means married, or it means divorced. And I'm not quite sure why I have to define myself by my marital status, yet there's Mr. Like little things like that.
Yes.
Little things like that. And I think that those are kind of some of the things that we've, had to overcome, even just the little stuff, big stuff, and little stuff,
Well, by the labeling, the categorizing, you having the ability to only do this or only do that, or they only want you to do this or do that. Because, we're looking at, the entrepreneurs out there today, last count I know, and I'm sure it's more now, we're 55% women. And they know that women are extremely capable of bringing a team together, of running a company, pulling up their sleeves and getting stuff done, right? You've got very few people where they're driven by the ego. They're driven by the common sense, and they're driven by the drive to get it done. And it is a threat to a lot of other people to see that. And instead of being threatened by it, why don't you join them? Why don't you collaborate and see us for what we are? See how capable we are and how much we are changing the world. And we are changing the world. This is the time of woman. It's a time of mama. And mama isn't going to put up with a lot of BS anymore. We're there to inspire, to enlighten, to illuminate, but we're also there to hold people accountable. And that accountability is going to be there with that strength of who we are. It's not bashing, it's accountability. When as mothers, we send the kids to the room, put them in the corner, or whatever it is, it's accountability. And I think that is also one of our strengths of actually being able to do that in a way that is also nurturing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's all really an act of self-love or a confirmation of self-love and evolvement. You know, it's been involvement. It's, you know, the step forward, the 3 back, the 2 forward, the 1 back,
Yes.
the dance, and being able to learn where we are and who we are and where we come from. And every generation has, you know, rewiring to do in relationship
Yes.
to our abilities and what's expected. Like, look, you know, I remember people questioning my ability as a mother for being an entrepreneur. Like, literally, my daughter came home and someone had shared with her, well, you know, when I had children, I decided to give up my career.
Yeah.
And my, you know, my daughter decided to share with me, you know, this is what so-and-so said today. And I'm like, that's nice. And I did my little thing. And then I picked up the phone and I was like, yo, you know, but it's not unusual. And this is why if I was to stand on stage every single day, I would remind us that we're all sisters.
Yes.
Like, we're all sisters. We might stand on the different side of things politically or mission or views or what it is, but honestly, I think it also starts with women really starting to like just really like treat each other like we're sisters, like sisters that like each other. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yes.
don't
Best friends,
try to like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And the thing is there's 2 words that I always hate, compare and competition. You don't compete with
Mm,
other people. Leave that actually to a game of competition. And we don't compare. We're all beautifully, flawsomely unique, and we need to embrace. And it's also about looking for validation or approval from other people. No, that must come from within. Everything must come from within. And the more you love yourself, who you are, why you are, what you're doing, the more you exude that out.
mhm.
And that nobody needs to give you permission for you to love yourself. That is a journey of yours for you yourself, and how you use that love. And if we could stop comparing and pointing fingers, and there's 3 pointing back at you when you're pointing that finger, you know, it's what are we
Mhm.
doing? And are we just being sheeple because we've been told to be, we've been conditioned to be, or are we beautiful enlightened beings that have got so much wisdom to share?
Like I said, I think that it's an evolvement,
Yeah.
and I believe that a little bit wise, you know, the wiser we get, the more
Yeah.
we experience life, the more we can love ourselves, the more we can love others, the more we can come out of the culture crawl, I call it, where, you know, it's like we've been cultured and stand on our own 2 feet and have our own beliefs. And so, yeah, I'm very excited about these women coming together because, you know, a lot of times it's easier to love yourself when you
Yes.
have someone telling you to do it, you know,
Yeah.
and
Or showing you
when you're
how.
in a strong community,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. It not only is it going to be an interesting year to move these 2 projects in the same year, but somehow for some reason to more of a movement based instead of
Yes.
a book in print. It's almost like the book comes alive
Yeah. It
through the speaking and the speakers and hearing
yes.
from different people, you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the other
yeah.
thing is, what
So
I love about a
it
book,
has.
I love about a book is being able to go, what do I need to know today? And opening up the book. And there is something there that day that's written. That chapter is what I needed to know. And it becomes a
Mhm,
comfort. It becomes like your companion that is your support. And having that where you can just turn to one person's story, and that one person's
mhm,
story is what you needed in that moment. And that it becomes that self-help book, not just by its content but by its support group.
mhm. I absolutely 8 years after I got a book given to me at a dinner party, because someone gave me a book from Cheryl Strayed, who I didn't know, even though I'd seen the movie. She brought it instead of a bottle of wine. And it sat on my coffee table. And it has been the only ornament that has been there for 8 years steady without things changing. And I swear when I open it, and had that not been such a profound book,
Mhm.
I looked up Cheryl Strayed, realized she wasn't, you know, I started to discover the author. And then here I am 8 years later spending 3 days with her. And it was such
Yes.
a glorious
Surreal.
experience.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. You just never know. But
Yeah.
I think we all know that books are so incredibly
Yeah.
important. They're historical.
Hmm.
You know, they're historical. You take a look back at what some of the great women of our time wrote, and what
Mhm.
they overcame and what they had. I remember listening to Carol Burnett. She's
Yeah.
like, you know what it was like to be a woman comedian in my era?
Hmm.
I'm sure she went through things that other women comics don't go through now.
But
And just, I think it's also
look at the inspiration she became for other women, right? And that's the thing,
absolutely.
is that we have to realize is that we are here to be of service to one another. And then however we serve,
Hmm.
you may have your business, your
Hmm.
program, your way of doing it. But when you come together, as I said, like that chorus in a book, where everybody is there with the intent to serve someone else, with your wisdom, with your passion,
Hmm.
and that in that harmony of supporting one another, somebody out there that's in a flux, or somebody out there that's at a crossroads in life, that chapter, that participation that you've given just me what they need at that moment, and what it's telling them. It's not just one person who's written a book, which I absolutely honor, but 262 people in the book. That's 260 people that are giving up their time, their money, their love to be supportive of you, the reader.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
impactful on its own.
absolutely. There's so much love. There's so much love. That's what I mean. I almost, when you talk, and I've always felt it, like it's almost like the book's going to have its own aura, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it will. It most certainly
Yeah.
will. And it will mean
Yeah.
something to each different people and according to where they are in their life. But the beauty of it is it can help them through one stage, and they may leave it on their table there for a while and then go back at another stage and
Hmm.
open up to another chapter. And now it opens up a whole new gate for them. Right. And that's the beauty of it. It's a gift that
Hmm.
keeps on giving over and over
Yeah.
and over again. So it's a beautiful investment to buy, but it's also a real honor to be a part of.
Yeah.
And having said that, how
Absolutely.
does
And
somebody
there's,
become
I
part of
mean,
it?
if there is any, yeah,
Sorry, we had an
I was
overlap
just
there.
going to say, yeah, I was just going to say. So, I mean, I'm a very easy person to find. You can literally go to deb@debdrummond.com. That's my email. You can go to debdrummond.com. That's my website, and contact me through there. And then I have information for people that would like to be authors. If people love to speak and share, we've got 75 opportunities. Well, not as many, as we've started to talk about it, things are taking up, but I have speaking opportunities available for people that like to speak on any of the summits. And let me tell you what the summits are called. So there's 2 book launches. There's 12 spots available for someone to speak at a book launch. But the summits are called Stand Up, Speak Up, and Show Up. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you.
Mm-hmm. I like
Yes,
that. Yes.
you
Yes.
summit, right? And having people speak and share.
Mm.
And then so they can do speaking, they can do in the book, they of course can do both. And then of course, if that doesn't resonate, if you're like, doesn't resonate, we want you to come on and share and cheer and hear
Mm.
what these speakers are saying. Also launching the book.
Yeah.
International Women's Day is going to be an incredible day.
Yes.
It's an international book. There's already authors coming in from the UK, from Australia, all over North America. And we've just gotten started. And so just we'd love to see you come as a guest,
Yeah.
be at the show, watch
Yes.
what happens, drink that up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're offering a feast. And, if you're not willing to partake of the feast, you're going to be hungry. Sorry. But if you're just willing to nibble at it, whether you're just going to hear it or just going to read it or want to be a part of
Mm-hmm.
it, just want to be a speaker or want to
Mm-hmm.
be or just an author or just want to be both of them. The whole thing is that the legacy you're leaving is a gift that keeps on giving. You have no idea of the
Mm-hmm.
impact that of lives. You may never know because some people may reach out and some people won't, but you do know that the ripple effect of your love, your compassion, your empathy, your understanding, your skills that is going out to people is having a wonderful ripple effect out and a domino effect. If it enlightens one person's life, lift one person up to a higher frequency, a higher vibration, then they're going to have an effect on all the people that are around them. So, it's that one seed that keeps on growing and growing and growing, and you're going to have acres of it. So, you know,
Yes.
so people
And
just,
it's our job, for Oh no, sorry. I was going to
No.
say, and for people that have, sometimes they've been part of a book before, an
Mm,
anthology, or written a book, and if anyone's never had that experience of having that gift
yes.
really hit the marketplace,
Yeah.
like we're putting a lot of resources behind when we say it's going to be in 500 media houses. Don't let that scare you,
Yeah.
but we want the word to get out for the exact reason you're talking about. Having this streamed, and like knowing that a book that you're in, or being a speaker, featured on, seen in,
Yes.
just being able to have that kind of impact, honestly, can happen sometimes just once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Just once in a lifetime. So here's what I say to people that are feeling tingly in their tummy that are listening to this. It kind of makes you somewhere between nauseous and excited. Contact us,
Yeah.
because there's probably a part of you that's interested, and there's a part of you that's scared, and that's awesome. That's awesome. That's probably pretty well most of the authors and most of the speakers. They're like, whoa, this is really stepping up. And that's what it's called. Stand up, speak up, and show up. Let us
Yeah.
help you, assist you, and do that first time with the surrounding of this kind of group. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just
So
thinking of why, I don't
very,
know, but
very, very, very amazing.
right. The numerology just came into mind. And then actually it's in the numerology year 9. And 9 is the ending. And what you can look at, everybody needs an ending before they have a new beginning.
Mm.
Right. So this book could be something that can close the doors on some of the journeys that you've taken in life that are no longer serving you. And, even when you come to an end and you open up another door, there's still work that you need to do to close things off, to erase certain beliefs, or to change the mindset. And you can look at this as a year of closing the door on one thing and opening the door of healing, of new beginnings, of new possibilities that you can go through, so that on year 1 in 2024, then we're now looking at you really putting your foot to the pedal. So, you've got to close the door and open another one. And this is a lovely way of opening up a new door. All the support
Yeah.
that you can get,
It's
right? So much support there. And just we need it. Yes, we need it as women, but the only way men are going to know how to treat us is when we step up and show them how we treat ourselves. So
very true.
that is the education for them. See how we treat each other. Understand why we came together. Understand how this isn't a competition or comparison. This is a collaboration out of love. And this is how you
Mhm.
achieve embracing who you are, why you are, and what you're here to do.
Absolutely. Honestly, and I think you've seen it. I know you've seen it. There has been a whole shift, even in commerce, even in clothing stores. My
Yes,
son's in streetwear. Collaboration, collaboration, collaboration,
yes.
collaboration. There's a lot of power in collaboration. There's a lot of people doing collaborative books because it's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's powerful. It's time that we come together, even from the same industry. The book that I did that had 25 people in, they were all six-figure income earners in a sector that was multiple companies that are competitors,
Yeah,
and they all came
yeah.
together and never been seen before, went to the market to share the word of that industry sector, the power of it. So competition is starting to really, that
Mm,
paradigm starting to break. Collaboration is starting to override, and that's what you're seeing. And this is kind of that in grandeur.
yes.
Yeah.
You're building the orchestra. I mean, the orchestra isn't one instrument, it's many instruments who are really perfected in the playing of their instrument. They can stand alone as an instrument, but when they come together and they play harmoniously together, look at the impact that their music has. So you're creating an orchestra
Yeah.
here now. And that orchestra is just going to be so profound and have so much impact on people. So they contact you just by email, or is it on the site as well?
Yeah, they can certainly just, my email is on the website, debdrummond.com, deb@debdrummond.com. Honestly, I'm not adverse for this event here. If you want to pick up the phone because you're super excited, I'm literally, I mean, it'll probably be in the show notes, but call me. I'm in Vancouver. I'm on WhatsApp. you can contact me through Messenger. I'm Deborah Drummond on Facebook. That's probably the social platform. I'm Deborah Drummond on LinkedIn. Yeah,
Instagram.
just
Yeah. And the Drummond folks,
Instagram.
Drummond, double M there. So Deb at Deb Drummond, DRUMMOND.com and debdrummond.com for the site. And pretty well Deb Drummond all the way across your social media as well. And please go back and listen to all the shows that she's done with us before. Listen to the Island Show and see, maybe you know somebody in Ireland. Maybe you want to go over there on holiday and support what they're doing, but also listen to all the other shows that she's done with us because she imparts so much wisdom, so much support, especially on women entrepreneurs, and really helps us with things that are missing in our life, things that we can't quite see, things that we can't quite connect. And just listening to her will be that catalyst for you in all moving forward. So, and all you have to do is put is Deb Drummond in selfdiscoverymedia.com or theorchardofwisdom.org, and her show will come up, all her information will come up. So, I mean, yes, it's going to be a big year for you, but I mean, just
Yes.
the first part is just going to catalytic, drive you on the island part as well, and you never know even from that how it's going to help the island one. But it's just obviously this is your year. This is your year to make a big impact, and make sure you look after yourself so that you're full of energy to do it. But I know you will be so driven by the possibilities of this, of the impact that you know is going to have. I know it's going to fuel you. I know it's going to be your generator. And yes, folks, this is just an extraordinary opportunity. So again, just break it quickly down, the kind of people that you want to participate.
So we're looking for women that are or have been self-funding, right? So you may not be right now, but you have been in the past, or you're stepping into self-funding. So entrepreneurs are people that do more than one business. That's what it is. It's an entrepreneur that's just like, that can't say no, and then of course, creatives, authors, journalists, sculptors, painters, like people that are in the arts, music arts, healing arts. And then of course, self-funded media. So women that are self-funding, that's what it is. And honestly, if there's one word to describe this book, you're really going to be reading and being inspired by the word gumption.
Yeah.
It's gumption.
Yes.
It's called Mission Accepted for a reason, because you said yes.
Yeah.
And you're still there.
Yep. Exactly. Through everything in your life, you face it with gumption, and you're doing it because of the passion, because of the conviction, because of the love, right? The love for people to go through all that they go through with that gumption may be what made them step up, but it's the love of themselves, of what they're doing and why they're doing it and whom it serves, that is the driving force that keeps them going. And those are the people you're going to be reading and going to be listening to. So it's quite exciting. I mean, if you were as a participator, but very, very exciting opportunity if you wish to be a part of it. So reach out to Deb at debdrummond.com or debdrummond.com and just even inquire. Okay, I'm foot in the water. Should I? Shouldn't I? But it's a huge opportunity, and you don't want to afterwards going, I should have, because this is the time. This is the time right now, and it's going to get booked up very quickly. So, bravo, Deb. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you're most certainly somebody that when she gets the calling, and they're obviously going to be right behind you because they've given you two callings back to back. But I know that you're going to accomplish them both, because I know they were the right message, received the right way, and you're doing it for the right reason.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate that coming from you. That's quite a compliment and quite an honor, because look at what you do.
Well,
you are definitely.
We're all part of the sisterhood, right? And we there support one another, because together we are the ones that make the difference. So thank you so much. You want to be an author, you want to be a speaker, you want to be both, you want to inquire whether you fit the bill, reach out, Deb at debdrummond.com, and just, start the process. You never know. You never know. And just imagine the impact you can have on somebody else's life, because that's what it's all about. Also, the sisterhood that you are going to get from everybody else being a part of this as well. This isn't just the people who are going to read it and listen it. These are all the people that are participating, and what a wonderful sisterhood that you're going to have from that as well. So this is a chance of a lifetime, folks. Please don't pass it by. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Find all of our shows on selfdiscoverymedia.com under podcasts or selfdiscoverymedia/shows. And for all our current shows, go to What's New. We are supported by you, the audience. You'll see a nice big shiny blue button for one-time donations or follow us on Patreon, and you will be able to support us there. We enjoy bringing you such wisdom. And the next show will be up in just a moment.